Well, David, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, and more importantly, thank you for stepping in and saving Derby County Football Club. How have the last few weeks been for you?
It's been very hectic. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff for us to look at. There's quite a bit of stuff to unravel. But the team that have been working on this, I include myself in that, is Ian Dickinson, is the managing director at Clowes Developments, and the lawyers, led by Simon Taylor at Gateless. I mean, they have been absolutely superb on this, and I cannot speak highly enough of those guys. Without them, we probably wouldn't have been able to have done this deal.
When did you decide that you were going to have to step in and get this done?
I go back to the month of February 2022. I was very concerned, like every fan out there. I was on the outside looking in like everybody else and thinking, why is this club not selling? Is there a blockage in the system? What I did, I made one or two calls, and I did say that if there was any interest and that interest fell away, then I would be interested in looking at the club, as a last resort, really.
Because you were initially involved, I think, in the deal just for the stadium, is that right?
That's correct. That was based on Chris Kirchner, who came in. He wanted to do the club only. Didn't want to do the stadium at that stage, so we were approached at Clowes Developments, would be interested in purchasing the stadium from Mel. So I thought, why not? It's a property deal, it's what we do. So we approached Mel and his people, who I have to say were absolutely superb. Once we got into the negotiations, they were very good. So we agreed the deal, and that was based on Chris obviously purchasing the club. Chris obviously pulled out, as we know, it's well documented. So I thought, right, we may have a stadium, but we might not have a football club. So that was at the point where I thought, we seriously need to look at this. As a company.
And you've done a lot of deals, of course, through the years, through Clowes Developments, but how complicated was buying a football club?
I would say this particular one was probably the most complicated acquisition that we've ever seen. Obviously I can't go into any details as to why, but there was a lot of twists and turns through this process, but I think the way we look at it, we look for solutions, and I believe we found the answers to a lot of the issues that were going on behind the scenes, and I think that's effectively why we managed to do the deal where everybody else fell by the wayside.
It's funny because right near the start of the whole process, somebody said to me, Derby County won't die because there are people out there that care about the club and can do it. And I don't know if they meant you personally, but here you are. But you're a Derby County fan first and foremost, aren't you? So tell me a little bit about that. What are the earliest memories for you of Derby County?
That is going back some time ago. My first game was Derby against Nottingham Forest. This was the 77-78 season. This was the year that Forest came up and unfortunately won the First Division. But I remember I'd pestered my father for months and months because I'd never been to a live game. I'd seen Derby on Match of the Day, I'd seen Derby on Star Soccer. I'd even written about a match between Derby and Colchester in, I think it was the 76-77 season in the FA Cup. So I was obviously aware of the club. And I was also a fan of friends with fans, but I'd never been to a game. So lo and behold, these tickets turned up for the Leeds stand against Forest in, I suppose it would have been, it was about November time in 1978, I think it was.
Went with your dad?
Yes, I did. I went with my father and his best pal, Arthur Twigg. And I always remember we always used to park in Portland Street. So we used to pay, a couple of pence probably in those days to park up in the backyard to this particular property, and we did that for years and years. And then we'd always call it the corner shop, just on the corner from Portland Street, and buy a bag of sweets. So that was the way it used to go or be. And then I always remember sitting in the lead stand on that first game against Forest, and it was the atmosphere that just captured the imagination, and I was hooked for life after that. I mean, there was over 33,000. You think the baseball ground with 18,000 in it was special, but over 33,000 in there that day. It finished 0-0. I can't remember too much about the game, but reading reports, because this question comes up quite a bit now, and I looked at the reports of that match, and it was a game that apparently we should have won. I think Charlie George had a good chance. Jerry Daly should have scored, I think, but I think it's one of those days where Peter Shilton was outstanding on the day. So yeah, finished 0-0.
Everyone that ever went to the baseball ground always has such incredible memories of it, and clearly, you know, it helped you fall in love with the club.
Yeah.
Are there any particular games that really stand out, home and away actually, because I know you go away from home as well?
I do, yeah. I've been attending away games regularly since probably the third division season, 84-85. That's when I started attending regular. Attended pre-season games, home and abroad. You know, I always used to make, when it was pre-season abroad, I'd always make the arrangements, whether it's Austria or Portugal or even America. My wife couldn't understand why we were going to all these countries, these obscure places. And it was purely because Derby were playing there. So we'd always make a bit of a holiday of it. But going back to games that I remember, certainly the baseball ground days, I mean, the one that really stood out for me was probably the 79-80 season when we beat Forest 4-1. And I think we were sort of 3-0 up within 15 minutes. And I was on the pop side that day, and I was probably 10 years old. So that was special. That was a special occasion, yeah.
And who are your heroes down the years?
My first idol would be Charlie George. Charlie, I mean, he was a fantastic passer of the ball. I mean, he was, you know, his shooting ability was second to none. I mean, he could really score a fantastic goal. Yeah, that 77-78 season when I started going, yeah, he was very much the man that got the goals. Kevin Hector was also a bit of an idol. Unfortunately, at that time, Kevin was probably, he only played sort of a handful of games for Derby then. I think he was out of favour with Tommy Docherty, who was then the manager. So, you know, Kevin moved on. But yeah, and then going on to the 80s, I would say Bobby Davison. So they were special times, you know, the third division days and then promotion, winning the second division championship in 86-87. So yeah, Bobby got a lot of those goals, so he was special. I'd like to mention Lionel Pickering. I mean, without Lionel, we wouldn't be standing here, I'm sure. And of course we've got Pride Park over there, so yeah, if I can be half as good as Lionel is, then I'll be a very happy man.
What were the emotions like for you on the day that the deal was completed this time a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I just went through every single emotion that's humanly possible. I was down in London actually on the day it completed. I've got work commitments down there. We should have completed on the Thursday, but it went to the Friday, so I had to go down to London anyway. And I remember being in a restaurant. I was with my wife actually. Kath came down with me, spent a day down there while I was working. And while we're in the restaurant, we got the email to say, right, the deal is now on. It's happening, literally. And then when we got the tube to go back to St Pancras to get the train back to Derby, I got the text saying completed 5:26 p.m. Well, you can imagine the emotion. I mean, literally the tears were rolling down my eyes on the tube. And Kath, my wife, and everybody on the tube, it was rushed out, we were packed in, and everybody's looking at us thinking, what's wrong with these guys? You know, but incredible feeling, absolutely incredible. I just cannot put it into words.
I know it's been a bit of a wrench for you to leave your seat in the North Stand where you've had your season ticket.
Yeah.
Have you adjusted to your first trips to the director's box now?
Very, very well, actually. I mean, the staff have been absolutely superb. Everybody at the club has made us feel so welcome. Even going to the two away friendlies that we've been to, Stevenage and Bradford City, I mean, everybody's made us so welcome. The owners of these clubs, the directors, obviously they're very passionate about their clubs, but they've shown interest in what we're trying to do here at Derby County. And it's just an honour for me to represent the club, and a privilege, you know, to be in this position to represent Derby County. It's fantastic.
What are you trying to do at Derby County? And I know that's a big question, and I know there is a lot to do in the short term, but can you give us a few words on what sort of the plan is?
Yeah, obviously the main thing is stability. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is so key at this stage. If we can get long-term stability, that's half the battle. Look at integrity. I look at the relationship with the EFL, which I know it's not been good over the last year, probably 2 years. I mean, that's been well documented. But the conversations we've had with the EFL have been very positive. Obviously, with the acquisition of the club, we were in constant communication with them. Since then, now we've acquired Derby County, they've been excellent. They've been so good towards us, and I just feel like we've just turned it 180 degrees now, and they're very much on board with what we're trying to do at the club.
Clowes is a hugely successful company, and the two families have started to come together already, I know. What are you hoping that the business can bring to the football club?
Yeah, I mean, there's three things that we look at. One is stability, we look at integrity and progress. We're very much, as a team at Clowes, very much together. We work very closely as a team. We listen to people, and no matter what level they're at. And if we can bring those principles to Derby County, then if we can mirror that, then I think we'll go a long way.
What sort of owner do you hope to be, intend to be?
I would hope that we're going to be very good listeners. We're not necessarily going to have all the answers at this early stages, but we'll listen to the fans. We want to convey the information to them, what we're doing on a regular basis. There's some very good people at the football club. They're living and breathing this. So we're very open to their ideas and suggestions. We're not going to have all the answers, but I believe if we get the stability and long-term play on this, I think we'll be very successful at Derby County going forward.
And just finally, a message for the supporters who are elated that you're here and the situation is as it is now. What would you say to them ahead of the season?
I would say stick with us. This is a new chapter. It's very early days, but with long-term stability, I think we'll be very successful in the future.
David, thank you.
Thank you very much.